Councilmember Cole is absent. Councilmember Schwer.
Here.
Councilmember Wong.
Here.
Councilmember Nordby.
Here.
Mayor Monge.
Here. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved?
So moved by Councilmember Schwer.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Norby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Oh, you.
Thank you, Mayor. First topic up is Ramsey County HRA levy discussion, and we'll start that off with a quick staff report from Brandy Hauer, Community Development Director.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Dean?
So you might recall a meeting back in April where we had a very full agenda, and on that agenda was Ramsey County doing a presentation on the HRA levy. I thought tonight would be a good opportunity to revisit that, to kind of close the loop on that discussion so we can give them direction on what we would like to do if we want to participate or not participate. So this is a presentation just to try to reiterate a little bit of what the levy program is about and what benefit it could provide to the city. So as a way of introduction, the Ramsey County HRA was organized in May of 1993 by the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners. In 2022, the county levied $11.1 million through the HRA to preserve and increase the supply of affordable housing within the county. All communities in Ramsey County are required to participate in the levy, with the exception of St. Paul and North St. Paul, because both of these cities have been operating their own HRAs since 1972, or before 1971, sorry. Both cities have the option to opt in to the county. In 2022, St. Paul decided to opt in. They have an agreement where at least 50% of the funds that are levied are spent in St. Paul in programming specific to that city. The city of North St. Paul at that time in 2022 chose to opt out. Because we have new commissioners and we have new staff, we asked that the county come back and do a presentation to give us an understanding of what the levy is for and how it's beneficial. And so that happened on April 18th at the City Council workshop. And then following that meeting, staff has requested some additional information from the county to give us all a better understanding. So what programming will the city of North St. Paul be eligible if it were to participate? Ramsey County offers 3 key programs through the HRA levy. Those include affordable housing projects, the Critical Corridor Grant Program, and wealth generation programs. So I'm going to go through each of those. The HRA funded almost $8 million in affordable housing projects in 2022. You'll see that from the list, about half of those were focused in St. Paul, but Little Canada, Maplewood, White Bear, and Shoreview received $4.2 million for new construction of affordable projects. These are 2 of those. The Litmore and Little Canada and the Lochner and White Bear Lake are 2 of the HRA affordable housing projects. Litmore received $1.1 million, and the Lochner received $1 million. The Critical Corridor Grant Program offers assistance to qualifying public, private, and nonprofit organizations for place-based investments along major transportation, commercial, and cultural corridors. We do have quite a few areas within the city that are covered by those commercial corridors. The goals of that program are to boost connectivity between housing, jobs, retail, services, and transportation, create more compact and walkable environments, enhance pedestrian access and safety, and support vibrant business districts. So up to $50,000 was available for pre-development planning grants in 2022. I'm sorry, up to $50,000 is per project. In 2022, $100,000 was available for that grant type. Up to $50,000 per project is available for the Commercial Corridor Initiative out of $100,000. And that funding is used for business recruitment, establishing small business incubators, building facade improvements, technical assistance, doing district-wide marketing, branding, and promotion. And then finally, up to $500,000 is available for a project for the Development and Infrastructure Grant. Eligible projects can include extraordinary cost of housing, commercial, or mixed-use redevelopment projects, as well as public site infrastructure work. And the final program is the wealth generation piece, which they call First Home. It assists first-time and first-generation home buyers that are low to moderate income. It helps them to purchase a new home. Eligible buyers may purchase a home of up to $372,000 and qualify for loans that can be used for down payment and closing costs. First-time home buyers with gross household income that is at or below the 80% of the American median income, area median income, can qualify for the program. First-generation home buyers with 4 or more household members must be at or below 100% AMI. So I put the statistics in the report and on the screen. Based on the American Community Survey data, families and individuals in North St. Paul could benefit from the program. And per the county's presentation on April 18th, numerous individuals have inquired at the county to see if they would be eligible, and unfortunately they were turned away because we're not part of the levy program. So in considering whether to participate in the program, you may ask, how was the $11.1 million spent? 7.7 approximately was spent on the affordable housing projects, 1.8 on the critical corridor grants, 435,000 on wealth generation programs, and then 1.1 million was spent on staff, professional services, and overhead. So what would it cost us? The median estimated value of a home in North St. Paul is $273,750. So that home value would result in an estimated increase of $42 for that house bill, for that tax bill. As of 2023, North St. Paul is estimated to contribute 1.8% to the county levy. So that equates about just under $200,000 that would be added to the HRA from North St. Paul. So does North St. Paul have some projects that would benefit from the HRA participation? As I mentioned earlier, there are likely individuals that would benefit from the wealth generation programs that reduce barriers to home buying. We also are qualifying, a lot of our areas in the city have low median income home value, lower than neighboring suburban communities. So North St. Paul would likely have redevelopment opportunity projects that would be eligible for grant funding through the Critical Corridor program. So at this time, Carrie Collins, the Community Development Director with the county, is present. She is available to answer any questions. I can try to answer any questions regarding this, but at this point, we'd like to open it up for your conversation and see if there's direction you'd like us to take on this. I believe the deadline for participation is July. Is that right? So if we were to take action, we'd have a resolution back to you at the next council meeting. So I'll open it.
With our own now, how much are we bringing in for our HRA that we have?
I believe the levy is paused at the moment with our HRA. We are not presently taking.
What do we have for funds?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
I believe it's a little over $400,000 right now is what's in their budget, or their total budget.
So they have 400,000 right now in there. Why was it paused?
Pardon me?
Why was it paused? Is it,
For the sake of when we sold the 19th Avenue house, that we
Got
made
enough
significant money over it. So yeah, we felt that they didn't need the funding, and that's the way it was voted on last year as well.
or what was what do they want to see in ours? Is there amount? Is that why it was as much as how much they want in the account?
There wasn't a goal
Okay.
to have a certain amount, but it was enough to do what we were doing with our student-built houses to continue moving forward.
And we have enough to continue to move forward with our student-built houses and take care of what we've been doing?
We do.
Okay. So, any questions?
If we elect to go with the Ramsey County one, ours has to stop, correct?
I don't believe that is correct. We would continue to operate our own HRA.
Okay,
It's
and
an additional opportunity to have funding available through their programming.
then if it's because we have ours going, could we stop at any point in time?
Yes, this is a great question. So ours, our HRA levy, the programming, is in addition to cities that also have an HRA or an EDA. Many cities, some cities in Ramsey County don't have an HRA, and so they rely heavily on our HRA. Some levy in addition to the HRA. Some take a look at reducing the municipal HRA to offset the county HRA. So every city does it differently. It's just a matter of this can be in addition to or in replace of, depending on the goals of the city. One thing that I do want to stress is, we hear a lot from economists right now talking about this kind of fourth wave associated with economic recovery post-COVID. And right now, you're probably hearing workforce. Workforce is the name of the game. And the one way to ensure that you have a stable and healthy workforce is to ensure stable and healthy housing. And that's where jobs are coming, and we're seeing that all over the county. So I would say a lot of the other suburban communities are getting really serious in terms of preserving and constructing new housing, both in terms of single-family, affordable single-family, and also rental, to ensure that their pipeline for their businesses is strong. And so that's what we're hearing a lot from particularly our suburban community partners right now at this time, in terms of how they plan to use the Ramsey County HRA levy. I do also want to stress, from a mechanics standpoint, every project that we fund in your community does need to be supported by the council. Ramsey County can't fund a project with HRA levy dollars in your community without municipal consent. So there is a partnership. We do look very comparably to our HUD programs to partner with the city on advancing the city goals when we use our county HRA dollars. So, thanks.
What about ending? Let's say in 3 years, it's not a good fit.
Yep, absolutely. This is a great question. Like the city of St. Paul, they asked this question as well. They said, if we're finding that we don't have a good or strong return on investment, can we opt out? And the answer is yes. Comparably, you would pass a resolution saying we no longer are going to be included in the Ramsey County HRA. You would do so by a similar time frame, July, which tells our folks in property tax area to not include you within the area of operation in the taxable year moving forward. So you do have an opt-in, opt-out option available to you.
We do, because we fall with before 1971. The other ones have no choice.
Correct.
Thank you for your presentation, Brandy, and thank you for being here to answer questions. In regards to some of the submissions you received, what are some of the factors the HRA considers when allocating a project or approving one?
That's a great question. Thank you, Councilmember. The factors we includes a range of affordability. So we look at that, where there's plenty of projects happening right now at what we call market rate, which is kind of 80 to 115% of AMI. So the HRA levy wouldn't be a good fit. Statutorily, we are required to use HRA levy funds for low to moderate income housing. In terms of our wealth generation programs, I would say that's where we have heard quite a bit of interest coming out of North St. Paul residents to get access to those down payment assistance grants. Those are on a first come, first serve. So we had kind of an overwhelming amount of interest right now. So our down payment assistance staff are kind of working through the queue. So that's geography is all over the county. But in terms of multifamily housing, we're looking at preservation of existing affordable housing. So if you have townhomes or multifamily buildings where you're starting to see disrepair and it's starting to become quasi-blighted, where you're like, wow, that's an eyesore in our community, that's where our funds have really been able to help to kind of preserve that affordability. We also look at the range. So if you have 5 units at 60% AMI and versus another project that comes in where you've got a sprinkling of 50 or 60, a range, then that probably is going to score a little bit better. But I do want to stress, which we committed to all of the suburban communities, regardless of having a choice or not. Geographic distribution of these dollars is critical to us. We want to see preservation and new construction across all of Ramsey County, where you saw the Shoreview project, Mounds View received funds, Little Canada, New Brighton. We want to see investments in all of the county, and we made that commitment to every community within Ramsey County. St. Paul, specified that caveat associated with 50% returning back because they are 50% of the tax base. So they did want to see a return on their investment as well. So as the projects come in, we're always balancing between suburban Ramsey County and St. Paul, and so that's factored into decision making.
Thank you.
questions?
No, I think I'm ready for discussion.
Okay. Open to discussion?
Yeah, last time we were presented on the previous council, in regards to this, and, there was a lot of discussion about, what would happen to our student bill, things like that, and it's nice to hear that that doesn't have to go away. So I'm just kind of wondering, aside from the student-built housing, what are the other goals of our HRA at this point in time? And of course, that would probably be a little bit more appropriate for the HRA, but I think that's important to consider when we're bringing in funds. Is it to build more affordable housing, or is it our corridor, which is our downtown? Can we get a higher dollar amount than what we're getting now? So I'm just kind of thinking in some of those terms. So open to hearing what others have to think.
I have a question about the math. Is the tax base of St. Paul above or below that 50% mark of all in Ramsey County?
I think what you're asking is if St. Paul is 50%, where do we fall within the 100%?
No, St. Paul compared to all the others. If you added up all the others, not St. Paul, or if all the others add up to 60%, and St. Paul adds up to 40% of everyone contributing to this levy.
Thank you, that's a great question. It's almost an even split between suburban Ramsey County and the city of St. Paul. So it's like, it depends on the year, but it's like 49.8% St. Paul, and then the rest of the suburban communities make up the other 50%. And so it's going to be different, based off, economic changes every year, but it's really close to 50-50. So as we went around and held various summits with city staff and city managers, they said, we understand that split, but can you make sure then that 50% of the HRA levy goes to suburban Ramsey County? And we said yes. So in terms of North St. Paul's contribution, as Brandy mentioned, it's 1.8% into the HRA levy, which is why I would say it's really wonderful for communities like North St. Paul and Gem Lake and Little Canada to contribute in this way, because chances are very likely that your grant size on an annual basis will exceed what you put in. So that's been a huge selling point for some of the smaller communities in Ramsey County, knowing that whether it's downtown North St. Paul on the Main Street with the critical corridor grants, the wealth generation opportunities, or the preservation options for multifamily housing, chances are very likely that your grant size is going to exceed $198,000 on an annual basis. That's assuming, of course, we have projects ready to go into the pipeline, working with staff to make sure that they get into the pipeline for consideration. Thanks.
Do you mind if I ask her a question?
Oh, go for it.
I was wondering if you could describe, so we've got the affordable housing, with the critical corridors, there was 3 types of grants, the planning and then the projects. There was a third that was related to business retention and development. Can you talk about some of the communities that have benefited from that and how the program works from a staff-to-staff perspective?
Thank you, Brandy. That's a great question. So pre-planning, and then we've got kind of pre-development fund, and that's to ready a site for development. Some of those early costs are sometimes extraordinary, so we help to intervene there. There is development and infrastructure, but there is a program that's unique and that's specific to suburban Ramsey County. So St. Paul isn't eligible for those funds, and that's the Commercial Corridor Initiative. And the reason why that's built is because we know that St. Paul will always have a pipeline of multifamily projects, and that will probably be the bulk of their share of the HRA levy. But whether it's North St. Paul or some of these other communities, the landscape is a little bit different, and you may not always have a 200-unit multifamily project. And therefore, for suburban Ramsey County, we've got this Commercial Corridor Initiative, because we did a landscape view survey of all of Ramsey County, and every community in Ramsey County, regardless of the landscape, does have a commercial corridor that's in need of reinvestment. and just general investment to keep those kind of employment centers strong. So the commercial corridor initiative can be kind of one of two things. It can be marketing for the business community to ensure that you're driving attraction, driving employment to keep the business as a business retention and expansion play. We've seen that up and down Lexington Avenue as they've undergone construction. They did a big website and kind of marketing promotion to help keep those businesses strong. It can also be facade improvements for some of the kind of aging retail strip centers that's in need of signage improvements or facade improvements to keep it from getting blighted. And we've partnered with communities on some of the kind of building improvement side of things as well. So there's a lot of flexibility written into that project or into that kind of offering, but that's one program that is unique to suburban Ramsey County that could really benefit, North St. Paul could benefit from.
Any questions, Cassie?
No, I mean, that piece is appealing. Randy, doing the math, you had broke it down, was it $42 a month for the tax levy?
No, that's the tax bill for a house that was the median
Thank you.
house value in the city.
Appreciate it.
And forgive me, this is kind of a newbie question because I don't know this. On an issue of like this, personally, I think I'm in favor of it. But what is the history on issues like this where we vote as a council or we vote to put it on the next election to see what the general community wants?
Can we do that?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I'm a newbie.
I mean, what would be the, I'm looking for the word, I lost my train of thought. If we were to initiate this, what would the tax levy look like to an average homeowner? I mean, how much is that going to increase our taxes?
Well, that's the $42 amount, so
Well, it's the 42, so yeah, that's what I was trying to
that's your
generalize
tax bill
before.
increase. If you have the average house,
Okay, now I'm picking it up, because that's what I was trying to generalize before and figure out, okay, was that the $42? When you break it down, it's technically $1.40 a day, roughly. Okay,
yep, that's for your, on your annual tax bill. It'll
Thank you.
that much. You're welcome.
that's exactly what I was looking for.
That's not the right number. It's 42 for a whole year, isn't it? 42 for the whole year.
Oh, so 42.
Dollars for your,
Oh, okay, okay. I wasn't a math major, guys. But regardless, if I broke it down, it was still $1.40 a day, so it looked great, but it's even less, obviously, so.
well, we've had ours. Is there, I know we share with the student home build. Is that all the HRA is for right now, as far as where we go? Okay.
And that's dedicated to the student housing where this levy would be dedicated to improvements, business corridor improvements, current structural, larger housing improvements, more money, down payments, correct, to individuals that can't afford a full down payment. All right.
So the HRA, I believe got rid of that just before my time, I think, despite that being in our housing, or the housing set goal of our comp plan. So I think that is, kind of picked up in other areas for county. However, I think it adds to our own risk, financial risks, or it also adds to the fact that we don't have a lot of staff dedicated to running the HRA. We have limited capacity. Yeah.
Commissioner Reinhardt would like to address the council, if that's okay.
Victoria Reinhardt, Ramsey County Commissioner. North St. Paul is part of my district. And I just, I know that the last time that not the time before, when you were looking at coming in, and a lot of the questions really then were about affordable housing and thinking that somehow the county was going to come in and make something happen in your community. And so I just want to, and I know most of you weren't there, you were there at the time, and as Carrie stated, this is something that is really brought forward by the city. It's what do you want? We cannot and would not come in and say, you need to do this or you need to do that. I'm hoping that obviously that you will come in, because I believe that you will benefit, your community will benefit from it more than what's put in. And if you don't, next year you could opt out. But whatever you do, I'm here because I think I really do think it's a benefit to your city. If I didn't, I wouldn't be standing here telling you that. So it's not a lot of money, that 198,000 when you look at 11 million that we're bringing in the HRA. But there are a lot of projects in the city of St. Paul, and not as many in the suburbs. But they're getting to be more and more, and I think it'll be more competitive. And I'd like you to be part of that if you could. And you can certainly ask me any questions you want, because whatever you do, I'm going to support you. So that's really all it comes down to.
Any questions?
I appreciate your perspective on the staffing piece and the amount of workload it would be on somebody. So that's something definitely that needs to be played in consideration.
I mean, we still have community development projects, just to clarify, but there's not a whole lot of opportunity to have discussion amongst the HRA, getting all that together and the operations of that. So I think I would say in my experience, we struggle to find, an agreed upon direction outside of the comp plan and outside of the student build. I think everyone's mostly on that page, but in terms of other things we can do with the HRA, we haven't really had a whole lot of opportunity to have that discussion, and a lot of it has been limited capacity for all sorts of reasons. But that's something for us to consider. If we have a community development project, that's one thing we can focus on, and our HRA can just continue running the student build, but we'll have a larger sum of money to probably work with just for community development.
What's our,
Vote your opinion on whether you want to move forward with it or not.
so we vote tonight and then just goes in as a consent? Is that how that?
I would suggest that it seems like you're still digesting what this means to us. We can bring it forward as an action item, not on consent at the next meeting, and at that point, we could have a little bit more of a thoughtful reaction.
Yeah, I prefer doing that myself.
We'd have a full council then as well.
Yep.
Tim being gone.
Yeah, there's good things, and there's things that are, we keep adding monthly charges, no matter what value it is, how much it is, it's tough, especially when things are going up, and all the calls I get for everything else as far as roads and what's happening with all these other things, so we got a lot. So it'd be good just to be able to digest it and then do that.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree that it is a tough pill to swallow to add yet another layer of tax burden onto the citizens of North St. Paul. I do see the benefit, though, if this group does decide that it wants to move forward. I know that as the planner for the city, there are some critical corridor grant opportunities that we've missed out on, and I've had at least one phone call from a person who was interested in the wealth generation program, and we were not able to accommodate her. I'm also interested in learning more about that commercial piece that we could use the I forget what it was called again, the corridor, critical corridor initiative. I think that we have opportunities for facade improvements specifically. I know that we've got some owners in the downtown that have expressed interest in the EDA, finding a way to assist them with that. So I agree, there's a lot of information to think about over the next couple of weeks, and if you have questions that arise in the meantime, please contact me, and I can contact the county, and we can get more information to help you with the decision.
And how much we have to develop too, as far as land here, that type of thing. So we have maybe one lot that's still available, that's a good size.
We have a couple lots, and I believe that anything that you are gonna find that will be a redevelopment site will have some potential for some site contamination, and I believe the Critical Corridor Project, or pre-planning grant, and other, actually, Environmental Resource Fund, that's not part of this though, is it? There's a lot of opportunities for funding through the county, and the HRA is just one avenue that we could be part of.
Okay. Well, good. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for the information. It definitely helps us as we move forward in the new, like we say, young council, trying to figure everything out. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next up on the agenda is the Silver Lake Association. What?
Oh, that's the meeting, isn't it?
Did I miss?
They're in the council meeting.
Oh, that's,
Okay.
why is
That's what
it
you
here?
had, I thought.
Yeah, that's.
Never mind. Sorry.
All right, should we dismiss? I don't think there's anything else. Anybody have anything?
Nothing further.
All right, go ahead.
I just want us to think about that return on investment. I think that is something that could be really huge for us. I'm wondering if that could have been an opportunity to support even some of our current developments that, are trying to get off the ground as well. Could that have been something we have used for that, that HRA funding? So I just wanted us to really think about that as we continue to redevelop the downtown, because we have a redevelopment master plan, and it's been the goal of the city for a very long time to get this downtown continuing to move it forward. So.
And that's what intrigued me about the business corridor piece of the HRA. But I am also, on my end, I operate as a process thinker, so I'm processing through all of that information, but I agree that upon next meeting, it would be helpful for all of us to ask questions. Randy, I plan on scheduling an appointment with you just to discuss this a little bit further as well.
And do you want to continue with the current HRA program that we have along with that? So yeah, there's lots more information to come.
Yeah, part of that, though, is with our HRA going forward, the way we're doing it now, is how long is he gonna do it? And is there gonna be somebody replacing this guy when he retires?
That's the unknown.
Well, it sounds to me like we got 2 lots, and after that, he's thinking about pulling the plug. And then where do we go from there?
Which would be what, 2 more years?
So we got this house
Anyways.
coming up, and then next, I don't know if it's after next house, he was,
After the next one.
he was thinking about retiring. So, does the school continue the program? Does he have a person that, under his wing that he's doing anything with yet?
Not that I've heard yet, no.
Presented, it didn't sound like that.
So that's a concern, because then all of a sudden, we don't have anything then. That we've been focused, right now, we're focused on one thing, which is the student build.
Yep.
So that's part of the equation that we all need to continue to think about.
Indeed.
Work. Sound good? All right. Well, thank you. We'll dismiss, or adjourn, sorry, we have to vote, motion to adjourn. Do we have to do a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Your Honor.
Councilmember Wong? Second. Councilmember Norby? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
There we go.
Little break in the action, 6:30. You have a question? You're gonna be up on the council.